Greetings, royal family. Thanks for clicking on the video. Welcome back to the channel. So, Tamar Braxton, Get Your Life. Episode 1 premiered on Thursday, and I finally got a chance to sit down and watch it. I didn't have any expectations. I'm going to be honest. I didn't have any expectations. I said, let me just see what Tamar gives. Of course, most of us have seen the trailer for the series before the episode premiered, right? So I said, okay, no expectations. So let me just get straight into it, right? So here you see Tamar. This is the opening scene, and Tamar sits down with Mona Scott Young. Well, actually, no. Before that, there is the confessional where Tamar is talking in production, is asking her questions, and you can see some of her glam squad working on her hair and makeup. So it was her initial confessional. So she talks about the monetary things that she lost, along with losing herself. And not one time did Tamar take accountability for the things that she lost or the people that she is no longer associated with. So we see this scene here where Tamar and Mona sit down. So Mona, to me, Mona comes across as a just a slickster, like a salesman, a slick salesman. Y'all know what Mona gives. And Tamar, she starts talking and she starts opening up and she starts to cry during her meeting. And she does this whisper thing. To me, whenever Tamar is fake crying on TV, she does this whisper and you can barely make out what she's saying. So I couldn't make out all of what she said, but she basically reiterated the loss that she's experienced. I lost girlfriends, I lost my house, I lost this, I lost that, and again, she did not take accountability for anything that she has lost. So this was just weird. Like this forced exchange between Tamar and Mona, it was cringy, it was fake. Mona came across as this fake motivational speaker. She wanted Tamar to, quote, commit to this journey. And I'm like, commit to this journey, aka we want as much footage as possible so you can't quit and walk out like you do on Braxton Family Values. That's what I got from it. Because if you watch Braxton Family Values, then you know that Tamar is good for walking out of a room. I don't want to deal with it. If they have a family meeting, she doesn't want to deal with it. She walks out. So Mona just wants to get as much footage and get this project completed so they can edit it and get it out to the masses. That's what I heard when Mona said commit to this journey. Anyway, so the next scene is Tamar and David. So they're talking. Logan is getting ready for bed, so they're hugging Logan and they're saying goodnight, yada yada. Now this is when I noticed how many they got mad cameras in Tamar's house. A lot, too many in my opinion. Like, good grief, they had cameras filming other cameramen filming Tamar. Like, I don't know. I guess it's supposed to be like a documentary style, but it's too much. It was too much. So anyway, Logan goes off to bed and she says that her and David have been dating at this point when they filmed the show for 18 months at the time, because the show was filmed a year ago or so. Anyway, and she says that David brings out the best in her and showed her how she needs to change for the better. So she and David are talking in this scene. So she's smiling and she tells David that she feels that she made a friend with Mona. Yes, Mona Scott Young. And she says she feels like she connected with her. I can't believe that she really thinks that she connected with Mona. Okay, whatever. So I guess Mona is supposed to be in this sort of management role and Tamar trusts her. I don't know. Tamar's a good actress at times for reality TV, so maybe it could all be for show. Anyway, so it's taco time. So at the house, so it's Taco Tuesday, and they have a few people in the home. It looks like mostly production. Everyone toasts and yay, Taco Tuesday. This seems staged. It seemed very staged. Anyway, we move on to day 2. So this is when Tamar meets with the dream coach. And Goldie is the dream coach, and she wants Tamar to start participating in an activity known as dream work. Now, according to Goldie, dream work is a way to connect with the unconscious and unlock your full potential. Interesting use of words. Anyway, so production asks Goldie in her confessional, who has she worked with? And Goldie, the dream coach, she replies naming several actors. Some of them made me raise my eyebrow. Anyway, so the activity or the exercise that Goldie wants Tamar to do while she's working with her is Tamar has to write down her dreams. And Goldie is going to analyze these dreams. So each night she basically has to ask a question. And while she's doing this for the next 45 days or so, she can't consume any mood altering substances. Okay. No sex. So she can't consume any alcohol, any, THC, none of that stuff, and no alcohol. And Tamar asked a very good question, I thought, when she was meeting with Goldie. Tamar said something that I thought was important and interesting at the same time. She says, what if I'm comfortable with some things being locked away? Then she makes the statement, I'm comfortable with a bunch of things being locked away. What do you say to a person who says that? She's obviously found a way to cope, or so she thinks, with her trauma, right? I mean, she does consume what she consumes. So that could be a coping mechanism for her, right? But Goldie says to her, no, you can't keep those things locked in. You have to let them out, yada, yada, so you can be at your full potential. So here's what I think. I don't know if Goldie is a fraud. That's a strong word for me to say fraud. But I don't deny that she was hired by the network to get things out of Tamar that she wouldn't reveal voluntarily. This is my opinion. You know what I mean? It may sound crazy to some, but they have a reality show to tape, and production and WeTV, the network as a whole, they're interested in getting the product out for people to consume so that they can make a return on their investment. So I wouldn't be surprised if Goldie was hired by the network. But anyway, so we move on to see Tamar in the studio. So first of all, she is working with Jay White. I hope I'm saying his name right. Jay White, he is responsible for, he's produced the song Savage and also Bodak Yellow, if I'm not mistaken, among others. I mean, just Google him, child. Anyway, so Tamar, she says that she's shy. She doesn't like singing in front of people. Goldie, the dream coach, accompanied Tamar to the studio because, she wanted to see how she worked. So I'm like, okay, this should be interesting. So Tamar hasn't been in the studio in a very long time. She's so accustomed to being with like LaShawn, and I can't remember the other gentleman's name, and Vince. She didn't really have to do much. Vince was pretty much in the know as far as the music business. He fostered relationships that benefited Tamar's music career. So Tamar wasn't really the one going out fostering relationships with these producers and these mixers and these artists and things like that, and these record executives. All of that was handled by Vince. So again, Tamar says that, she's shy. She doesn't like singing in front of people. Tamar questions. She asked the producer, let me ask you a question, do you think people still want to hear music from me? She says she's worried about her look, how she looks, her sound. She's working with this esteemed producer, right? And it's like she needs constant reassurance. And I'm pretty sure the producer was shocked. His body language told me that he was kind of stunned and surprised. Like, what do you mean you're shy and you don't like singing in front of people? Like, you put out bodies of work. You went on a tour. I'm confused. I think it's that she doesn't have her safety net. And there's so much things that have gone on. Tamar is worried about how people look at her now. And I don't think that she's feeling confident or at her best. She doubts herself, saying she's afraid to sing in front of people. Like, what? How are you? It's possible, but how are you afraid to sing in front of people? When you wanted to be the star, this is what you wanted. You wanted to be the star. I'm just saying. Anyway, I just think another reason why she's probably worried about what people will say about her is because, you know, Tamar was very flamboyant, flashy, materialistic, you know, and all of the material things that she had that she let define her are no longer present. So there isn't this superior, I'm better than you, I got it like that, private jet, yeah, I know Lady Gaga attitude that she can put on. You know, no name dropping. Like I said, no flying private jets. No, because my husband is a producer. We know Mary J. Blige. No material safety blanket. And I think now she's intimidated and a little bit nervous. Lord have mercy. I can't. Anyway, moving along. Tamar and David, right? So they're talking about the dream assignment. So she tells him, look, I can't have sex for 45 days. So he's not feeling this dream work thing. You know, he says that he's a Christian and he is a believer in Jesus Christ. And he basically trying to say this is witchcraft that Tamar bringing up into the house, and he's not with it. So we see that the producer, next scene is we see that the producer, Jay White, he sets up like a portable studio. He brought the studio to Tamar. I think that was her house, wherever it was. Anyway, so he set up like a makeshift studio for Tamar to record. So she can't record. She can't sing. She says her voice is hoarse. Her voice is hoarse. She did record. She tried, but she didn't like how it sounded. When they mixed it, it sounded good to me. I was like, oh, wow, they can work wonders with a soundboard and a good mic. I'm just saying. But Tamar didn't like it. Then she started to pout. She started to become very, no, I don't like it in my throat. And every time I try to do something, the whole woe is me. So Tamar and Goldie, they go outside to talk, you know, because Goldie was there as well. So Goldie points out that, you know, Tamar is suffering from loss, referring to her family and not being around her own family. She says that she notices that Tamar and Logan are basically in a bubble. And Tamar just starts to talk about how she feels attacked in her voice. And I guess basically like when she's stressed and overworked, it attacks her throat. And that's why she's hoarse. Now the producer, Jay White, he's still trying to get Tamar to push through to record. And they were at Tamar's house, if I'm not mistaken. So Logan is there, of course, right? So she has to tend to him. So production pulls Tamar aside to talk to her and says, you know, Tamar's just like, I can't sing. I have no voice. She's like, you know, I can't get a nanny for Logan because I'm his mother. I can't call Vince to take Logan out the house because there is no Tamar and Vince. And I'm like, what does that mean? I'm confused now. I don't know. The stories sometimes they just switch all over the place. Anyway, so we move on to the final scene, right? So the next day, Tamar, she wanted Goldie to come on over because Tamar had a strange dream. She wants to discuss it with Goldie. So here is the dream in a nutshell. Tamar says in her dream, she saw Tyler Perry, right? They hugged, and then he became her boyfriend after that. Then she says the old school, quote unquote, Tamar reacted when Tamar saw a lady standing on the lawn of Tyler Perry's $1 million mansion. And, you know, this is supposed to be her man in the dream. So Tamar said she reacted, you know, she's doing all the cussing and neck rolling, and, you know, Tamar's imitating what she did in the dream. And come to find out, that lady, she said that lady was like the interior designer or something like that. But Tamar thought that Tyler Perry was messing with the girl. Again, this is a dream that she had, and she's explaining to Goldie. And at this point, Goldie is in her notebook writing things down and taking notes. She said then Tyler Perry in the dream, you know, wanted to talk to her to explain to her whatever he was going to explain, but she acted ratchet and ghetto, her words, not mine. And they jumped in a car, and they were driving in the car, and they were riding down, did she say an icy hill or just a hill, whatever. They're riding down a hill, and they were about to crash, but she jumped out before they crashed. I think that's what she said. She said the car crashed, but she jumped out before it crashed. And then she woke up and she was like, see, it's all good. It is what it is. So then they begin to interpret the dream. So Goldie tells Tamar, look, take a couple deep breaths, close your eyes, and ask yourself questions. What was the reason for this dream? What does this dream mean? Now, Tamar is asking herself some questions, right? I think she asked 2 or 3 questions. And something was answering her. Her subconscious, I guess, was answering her. And I thought that it was very interesting that, I don't know if she's done this before, but she had her eyes closed and she said, why did you come to me? And she answered herself with her eyes closed, to help you. So it's like she's having a conversation with her conscience and her subconscious. And it was so easy for her to do. And after the 3rd question, she wanted to stop. Goldie told Tamar, she has a resistance to people helping her. So at this point, Tamar is visibly emotional and uncomfortable. You can tell she's like, I ain't doing this. I ain't doing this. And Tamar then comes to a realization that the girl in the dream, this is what she's saying to herself, wasn't an interior decorator or wasn't cheating with Tyler Perry. And she said she knew exactly who she was and why she was there. So she started to cry. And Tamar says she was an angel to help her. And she didn't listen to Tyler, who was in the dream and was trying to explain. And she says that because she didn't listen to Tyler Perry, it caused her to go down the slope and crash in the dream. And then Tamar excuses herself. She's extremely emotional. Goldie suggests to production, hey, give Tamar, maybe you should give Tamar a little bit of a break from the cameras. Of course, production doesn't turn off the cameras. Tamar is in the bathroom crying. And Goldie says, this is a process. And, she's crying from her soul. There's things being uprooted from her soul. So Tamar comes out of the bathroom. She gathers herself and she continues talking to Goldie. And she starts talking a little bit about her childhood. She says, her parents' divorce ruined everything. And all of her sisters were no longer at home. I guess as they got older. Tamar talked about that before as well. She then stops and then she addresses the camera crew. And she lets them know, some things are not for the public. She says, I've given you access to a lot of my life, even when my child was being born. She said, but some things is just for you, like meaning for herself, So she gets emotional and she walks out. All right. And they're like, Tay. And that's where the episode ends. All right. I'm going to try to break this down quick because I don't want to make this video long. So after that, right, they show the trailers for the upcoming episodes. And we see in one of the episodes that David is going to have a pastor, priest, some religious leader come into the home and talk to him. I guess he's seeking counsel about Tamar doing her dream work or her dream exercises. And in one of the clips, he said, witchcraft. So we're going to have to watch it. You know how they piece things together anyway. So after the final scenes and the trailer, immediately when the DVR went off, my eyes started tearing up. And when Tamar was crying and during the episode, I was just observing, taking my notes and observing with an open mind. Like I said, I had no expectation, but my eyes immediately started to tear up. And why, right? You would think I'd be crying while she was crying. No, I was totally fine. I was just watching, just observing. Immediately, in my opinion, this is just what came to me. I could be totally wrong, but this is what came to me as soon as that DVR stopped. I think that Tamar made an agreement of some sort, a covenant with something. And I think that she is spiritually tormented. And in my opinion, this ain't got nothing to do with David. This ain't got nothing to do with David. David has made it clear, that he's a Christian. He's a Christian man, and he's not fond of this dream exercise. And I thought something else was interesting. When we were introduced to the Braxtons on Braxton Family Value anyway, they came across as they were all, even Tamar, paper Bible save, right? And the father was a minister or a pastor, the mother was the first lady. So I thought it was interesting that Tamar, and David weren't on the same page as it pertains to that. I mean, maybe she just has different views. That's fine. But David feels strongly, it's coming across that David feels strongly about not inviting this activity in his home. Excuse me, because he's against it. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever been around someone whose spirit is tormented, but it's not a pretty sight at all. It's not. And there isn't anything that you can do at all. And I'm not talking about someone who's like possessed and going like the exorcist. No. Just seeing someone try to function day to day and do regular things, but they're spiritually tormented. Anyway, another thing is Tamar, to me, I see that she has a tendency to run from a lot of things, right? She always got up out of Dodge on Braxton Family Values. I just don't think running from all of her issues is an option anymore. And I think that is what we're seeing play out, on the show. We're going to see it play out. And even what's happening now, like there's nowhere to run. There's no more running. You're having to face a lot is piled on, a lot. Unresolved things from your childhood on top of things that you went through in your adulthood and so on and so forth. And I think she can't run anymore. And it's causing all of these outbursts and all this drama. And I feel like Tamar knows what she did. And a lot of these people know exactly what they sign up for. I'll leave it at that. I ain't going to go too deep on that. But aside from that, Tamar wants everyone to kind of like do everything for her, right? Like she comes across as very dependent, not independent, and she needs attention equivalent to that of a young child. Now, I'm not saying this to shade her. This is behavior that we've seen displayed in Braxton Family Values, in Tamar and Vince, now playing out in the media and the show. Evelyn Braxton has trained her daughters very well to keep secrets under lock and key, man. For real. And that played out on Iyanla as well when the Braxton sisters went up to Iyanla. I just think that her mother and sisters are aware of what happened to Tamar, but dare not let it out, Don't say nothing. Don't talk about nothing outside this house. Sweeping it under the rug. So I think that we're seeing the effects of all of this play out in her adult life. And the only way that Tamar knows how to handle pressure, stress, anxiety, any conflict is to lash out, like the child that she was when she experienced trauma. So she reverts back to that familiar place of lashing out, like a child. And again, this is not shade. So I know that Tamar's behavior is not favorable to some. Yes, it's offensive, it's destructive. I noticed that her sisters, quote, let her get away with things. And I wonder, is it because they all know what happened to her and assume some guilt? Because Tamar has talked before about when her parents divorced, Tony was out of the house. Tracy, she got married and left. Trina was gone about her business, and for a long time it was only Tawanda and Tamar, and eventually Tawanda left, so she felt like she was alone. So I'm wondering that the trauma that she experienced, and Tamar mentioned that she experienced trauma, a traumatic event for 10 years, from 6 to 16, on both sides of her family. So I'm wondering, is it that the mother knows, the sisters know, and they assume some sort of guilt because they left, and they just let her act out because, oh, well, such and such happened to her when she was little, People do that. People do that. And of course, it's not the sister's fault what happened to Tamar. But again, sometimes people feel guilty. They like, man, if I didn't leave, would this have happened? So I do think that Tamar needs to take accountability for her actions. She's an adult woman, and she definitely should. But a bigger question that I'll pose is, do you think she knows how? Right? Like, this is not making an excuse for her, but she doesn't even want to touch on certain things from her past. And when Iyanla tried to help her, she lashed out to create a diversion. Same thing with TD Jakes. It was the crying outbursts and the arguing. You know, David recently was driving her to her mental health facility, right, for her to check in. An argument happened. You know, and then Tamar even said in a text message that she sent to Jason Lee, she says that, you know, one of her friends picked her up from that mental facility that same night that all of this happened. So you didn't check in and stay there long term. You left right out. So again, she didn't stay. You were picked up by your friend. So does she even know how? Does she even know how to take accountability? You know, she's afraid to address what happened to her. So anyone who attempts to step in and help, she sabotages the attempt so she doesn't have to go to the root of the trauma. Tormented spirit, man. And Evelyn knows all of this as well. Not blaming anyone, not excusing anyone, but this is my opinion, the reason why. There's always a reason why. Doesn't justify, doesn't negate, you know, doesn't give someone a pass because of, but there's also always a reason. And I oftentimes see that whenever Tamar is to discuss some deep-rooted issues, she lashes out. She might do that because it's on TV. I don't think that whatever her traumatic issue is, or traumatic event, that took place, I don't think it should be revealed on television whatsoever. I think that she should find a good mental health team, and I think that they should be signing an ironclad non-disclosure agreement. And I think that Tamar should really, by herself at first, get some extensive treatment. She has to purge all of this. And again, I don't know who or what she made an agreement or a covenant to or with, if y'all know what I'm talking about. But baby, they say that some people will do anything for fame, and that anything, you'll be shocked. So I don't know. But this, I don't know. Are you guys going to continue to watch? I don't know, man. This is really sad to see. It's hard to watch because I see it. I see the torment. I'm signing off, y'all. I don't have anything else to say. Drop your comments down below. Please keep all comments respectful. Please, you can disagree with me. Emphatically disagree with me, but just disagree respectfully. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you saw the episode. Are you going to be watching for the remainder of the season? I said I was not going to make this long. All right. Can't wait to read your comments. Until next time, folks. Peace.